Welcome back, and sorry about that, but it looks like the camera ran out of batteries, so just have to take my word. The rest of it went together just fine. Need to assemble all the front of the engine and check the end play, make sure it's within specs, and carry on. At some point the batteries ran out and the rest of the engine was put together. So use the torque multiplier to tighten the flywheel. It's basically ready to have all the external stuff done to it. Now you could use a factory intake manifold and it would look really tidy and everything, but I've always wanted to make the intake manifold myself, so it's a perfect opportunity to get one sorted out. Because the primary ports are quite narrow and tall, and the circumference works out a little bit smaller than the inside diameter of the tube, I pressed it so that it was like a funnel, and because I've got lots of room I can make it work on the same angle as what the engine's runners are before having to transition into the bend. Okay, so I flared the tube for as long as I could, without distorting the tube too much to make like some trumpets up. But they're just pressed, they're not machined. But they worked out quite well. Injectors. Well, one botch up and 2 successes. They will go into the primary injector slots. I'm about to use those 1000cc injectors for the primaries. And there they are. Tiny bit of persuasion and they've gone in. So started with a block of aluminium, put the holes in and stuff. If it's 25mm, if I'd started with something thicker, it probably would have been easier and I wouldn't have had to have made these up, which go in here, which I'm going to weld on. I bought a hardened marine stainless steel water pump, and to mount it, I'm going to mount it where the air conditioning pump on the factory engine would normally be. Oil line is not going to go there. Brackets are in line. Everything looks good. The raw water pump bracket has been made. I now need to paint the power steering bracket, clean up the power steering stuff and put a new hose and clamps on it. We have gotten further with the primary fuel injection, primary fuel rail. First we made these, and that's for the secondary fuel injectors, which are injector dynamics. So this was looking good, but then I thought I have to weld that on and I don't want any distortion coming through, so that's not that. So I've remade them, and that will be mounted onto the intake manifold. I'm going to use some 3mm tube aluminium, and then I'm going to weld these things here onto it, and they'll sit on top of the injector, and that will be inside the tube welded. We use the radium fuel pulsation damper, which looks really cool as well as being purposeful. Made a template for the alternator bracket, and that is going to go there, and I'm going to tighten that up. Stainless steel adjustable alternator bracket is done. Adjuster. Back to that. Made two of these. 47 millimeters long, 14 millimeter ends, and that is going to be how I set up the fuel rail. Primary fuel rail, secondary fuel rail. Those are the slugs that replace the injectors just for the setup. You can see the angle. Before we put the engine back in, we're just going to make up some drip trays to go around the hatch, engine hatch, because it tends to leak really badly when it rains, and it'll just be spilling all over the engine and all the other stuff we're going to put in there. So yeah, gutters